Copyright disclaimer under Section 107 of the Copyright Act of 1976, allowance is made for the fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, scholarship, and research. Fair use is a use permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing nonprofit educational or personal use tips the balance in favor of fair. All topics are for entertainment purposes only. None of the information presented in this video or by B-Girl TV should be taken as fact. Every situation is based on personal experience.
Do you want to visit Panama, but you don't know quite yet what weekend you want to come? Guess what? 2025 Martin Luther King weekend is Rum and Brunch Music Festival here in Panama City. 4 days, 5 nights of non-stop event, with the last event being none other than Rum and Brunch, which is the deluxe edition, which is a concert series, okay? We have performances by local artists as well as international dancehall artists, so you don't want to miss this event. If you are on a budget, but you know you still want to go, don't worry, we got you covered. We have payment plans available. Click on www.rumandbrunch.com, click where it says Rum and Brunch Weekend, and read up about this amazing event that you don't want to miss. If you went to Rum and Brunch Weekend 2024, trust me, you don't want to miss 2025, because 2025, if you're a 90s baby, an 80s baby, and you was outside in 2000, you definitely don't want to miss this event. You had a chance to participate in Rum and Brunch 2024. Well, guess what? 2025 will even be better. If you were the ones that was sitting home looking at all the fun that we were having, well, guess what? This is your opportunity to be here. So if you listen to dancehall, reggae, soca music, this event is for you. See you guys there. Peace and love. Do you want to visit Panama, but
Hello, V Squad. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the live stream. How is everyone doing today? What's going on? How are you guys? Everybody's rolling in. I know you guys are rolling in. Okay. I know you guys are rolling in. Happy Thursday, folks. Happy Thursday. Before we get into the live, drop in the comment section where you guys are tapping in from. Let me know what city, what state, which country, where are you guys tapping in from. Leave it in the comment section. Hey, always love. All right, guys. So I know some of you guys are on IG. I just want to say that if you guys are on IG, the people on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, what's this other thing called again? What is it? Oh, Twitch. Yeah. They won't be able to see your comments. All right. So if you want to be a part of the live conversation, if you want to be, if you want to call in, if you want to be able to interact with us, I would head on down to YouTube. Okay. Shout out to Brooklyn, Camille 718, Brooklyn in the building, always live and direct. I'm a Brooklyn girl forever. All right. So who else is in the building? Gia just busted in the live, y'all. Acting like she's dying. You want to say hi? Come and say hi, but you can only say hi. Okay, thank you. Okay. Say hello. Say hi. Say hi. Say hi. Say bye, everybody. Say ciao. She thinks she's sleeping. Okay, here. Bye. Okay. Close the door. All right. Close the door. That was not supposed to happen. That was not supposed to happen. My daughter is attached to my hips. All right. So there's still people that's still strolling in. So this live is going to be basically about, thank you. These are some of the struggles that I think a lot of first generations of anything deal with. So before I start it off, I want to read something that I came up with. All right, hold on. I gotta go to my notes section, y'all. It's gonna set the tone. Okay. Are you guys ready? Are you guys ready? Hi, Shanisha. Got my wine. All right. So I just wrote this little piece up today, just basically to set the tone. I'm also going to leave the link for the live here. So if anybody wants to call in, if anybody wants to join the live, just click that link. Okay. All right. So, as a first generation American, the journey of navigating identity is one filled with unique challenges and experiences. Born into a cultural crossroad, I find myself straddling the lines between two worlds: the culture of my heritage, deeply rooted in Panama, and the culture of my upbringing in the United States. Growing up, I often felt like an outsider, not fully belonging to either culture. While my American peers couldn't relate to the traditions, values, and customs of my Panamanian heritage, I also struggled to fully assimilate into the Panamanian community due to my American upbringing and mindset. From family gatherings where conversation flowed seamlessly in Spanish, a language I struggled to master and still struggle to master, to school events where I felt disconnected from experiences of my classmates, the feeling of not fitting in was a constant companion. Despite these challenges, being a first generation American has also been a source of strength and resilience. It has instilled in me deep appreciation of the rich tapestry of cultures that make up my identity and sense of pride in my heritage. As I continue to navigate the complexities being a first generation American, I'm learning to embrace the duality of my identity, recognizing that it's precisely this fusion of cultures that make me who I am. While I may not fully fit in with the entire with either Panamanians or Americans, I find my own place in the world, one that is uniquely mine. Okay. So I just wanted to give you guys like a little background on what it's like, because I have a lot of people here that are from the States, and I also have people that reside here in Panama. Some people have traveled outside of Panama. Some people have not traveled outside of Panama. So a lot of it is about perspective. People's realities are completely different. So it was two parts of this where the struggle for me was how should I say it? It's more it's more it's something that's different. It can't be just black and white, right? So I say this to say this. Growing up, grew up in Brooklyn, Canarsie. Okay, we first lived in Flatbush. Flatbush was heavily populated by Panamanians in those days. Panamanians and Jamaicans, especially, populated Flatbush at the time. And so, after we moved from Flatbush, we moved to Canarsie. Thank you, Camille. We moved to Canarsie, and Canarsie at the time was predominantly white. So there's a lot of factors, right? And so my parents are Panamanian. Okay, I want to say third generation Panamanian. And my parents weren't from Panama City. My parents was from Colón. My parents were descendants of Jamaicans. My parents' grandparents were direct descendants from Jamaica. And so that alone in itself made it difficult, because when you think of Panama, most people at the time, when they thought about Panama, they didn't think about Panama being black, and definitely they weren't thinking about Panamanians with those type of accents. And you know what type of accent I'm talking about, that Caribbean accent, right? And so for me, that was normal behavior. That was normal. I'm like, oh well, we're Panamanian. It wasn't until, and then the thing is that when my parents sent me to Panama to visit family, we stayed in Colón, and so everybody in Colón looked like me. Okay, you may have a couple of people that were like mixed, which you would consider mestizos, whatever, but for the most part, I was around people that looked like me. It wasn't until as I got older, and most people started to to know a little bit about Panama, where they would question like, well, when we watch Canal 41, Univision, whatever, Univision, I think that's what it's called, the Spanish station, and when you Google Panama, you don't see people that look like you and me. So for the people that lived in Brooklyn, everybody thought that all Panamanians looked like me, looked like my parents or whatever, or they had Caribbean accents, whatever. And then when you go out of Brooklyn and you go to other states like Texas, um, Virginia, and all these other places, and you start to see other type of Panamanians, you start to question like, wow, this is interesting, right? I have people that come visit now, and they come to visit Panama, and they're like, "Where are the black people? Where are the black people?" So it's a lot to dissect when we come into this topic. Okay, Telemundo, yes, it's a lot. We never used to watch that channel, so that's why I don't even really know. We watched all shows in English, which is why a lot of first generation Americans that are Panamanian, they don't know how to speak Spanish because our parents spoke to us in English. I was blessed to have parents that we were always around Panamanians, like literally always around other Panamanian people. And all the Panamanian people that we were around, mostly all of them were from Cologne. And the ones that were a little bit more like mestizos that were around that were from Cologne still had a West Indian twang, and then they would speak Spanish. So I was blessed enough to, me and my sister and I, we were blessed enough to be around that. So we always understood we could defend ourselves, but obviously we grew up in America, so we don't have, when we speak Spanish, we definitely don't have a Panamanian accent, which is why my sister does not speak Spanish, because she's embarrassed, because she says that she doesn't sound, fluent when speaking Spanish. And, that is also part of the identity issues. This is so true. Growing up, I only knew black Panamanians. When I went recently, I didn't see as many black people as I had expected. We're going to touch on that topic as well. Are there any ethically native black Panamanians left in Panama? Yeah, definitely. I would say the ones that live in Colón, the ones that are from the coast, those people are direct descendants from Africa. I mean, all black. Okay, black people. We all, no matter where we are in the world, we are descendants of Africa, right? But when I say that they are direct descendants, they are direct descendants, meaning they came here from slavery and were dropped here. So yes. Okay. Did the Jamaicans in Panama not intermix with the local Panamanians? How did they maintain a Jamaican heritage for so many generations? Okay, so I'm going to just tell you what my grandmother told me, because my grandmother was born in Panama, but believe it or not, my grandmother did not speak Spanish. She didn't know how to speak Spanish, and when she did speak Spanish, her Spanish was very, very much machucao. My grandmother told me that when she was growing up, and this is so true, she went to an English school. So the schools, so the people that migrated to Panama to build a canal, they formed their own community. And the reason why these people formed their own community, because a lot of people don't want to talk about it and they want to act like this did not happen, but it did happen. Panamanians did not accept black people. They did not accept the Jamaicans, okay, or the West Indians, Jamaican, Bajans, St. Lucian, everybody, the people that came, the black people from the West Indies that came to Panama to build a canal, they were not respected here in Panama, even though people want to say something, they want to paint something that's not true. But it is what it is. They don't like to talk about it. A lot of people don't like to talk about it, but these are things that really happen. So there was an article, and I had spoke about this in one of my other videos in the newspaper not too many years ago. Okay, there's people still alive from those days that basically was saying not to let them, the chombos is what they would call them, into the schools. Okay, so people like my grandmother, the people from those communities had to form their own school. So my grandmother went to an English school. She was taught English because, they were Caribbean people, English speaking people at the time teaching in these classrooms. So my grandmother never went to a Panamanian school. Me too. I'm embarrassed to speak. My Spanish is very limited. Only stuff comes out when no one around me can speak English. Are there divisions between colonials and Antillians today? It seems like they have intermixed over the year. I mean, I don't really see it, you know, see that, but I have heard people make comments, okay? I have heard, the colonials call black people like you and me chombos. A lot of people want to make it seem like it's a word of endearment, which to many it is a word of endearment. But because I'm in the hair business and I wear braids and stuff like that, I have heard Afro colonials say things like, "Yo no quiero ese cabello porque ese cabello se parece de cabello de chombo." So basically, they like, "Oh, I don't want that hair because that hair looks like chombo people hair." So take what you will with it. Take what you want from that. Your grandmother's family was probably trying to hold on to their Jamaican identity. This behavior also shows up with Jamaicans in UK, Toronto, and US. No, it was really because they weren't accepted into the Panamanian schools, the school system, and some people were forbidden from speaking English because they felt like the local Panamanians felt like, okay, well, you're in Panama, we're in Panama. Panama is for Panama, which Panama still has that mentality that Panama is for Panama. Okay. Um, so no, it didn't have anything to do with holding on to identity. It was more so because they weren't accepted and they could not go to Panamanian schools. So true. My abuela's mom did not speak Spanish for real. The people from those generations were against assimilating to Hispanic culture from what I heard. Again, I was not alive around that time. I'm just telling you what my grandmother told me and what stories that I've heard from elders in the family. So, yeah. A suicide is an attack against one's culture, agency. My mother-in-law, who was born in Panama and whose parents came from Jamaica, confirmed your story. She never spoke Spanish, but all her children do. Right. And so the thing is that before I talk about something, I always, I ask questions. I have facts to back it up. I still have that article somewhere in my computer. I have it. I posted it in one of my old videos, which, once we are done with this live, I'll link that video for people to see it. But this is very much what really happened. But V girl, have you noticed how persistently lean in your Jamaican identity, even though you're for? I don't think I lean into any Jamaican identity. I think that I lean into Caribbean, my Caribbean identity because that's how I grew up. Like I grew up eating bun and cheese. I grew up eating rice and peas and stewed chicken every Sunday. I didn't grow up eating sancocho. I didn't grow up eating, certain Panamanian foods. And so it's not me holding on. I didn't even know. I just thought this was Panamanian culture. It wasn't until I got older that I realized that there are so many other cultures that are in Panama. Like in Panama, there are so many subcultures. I am a product of my environment. I could only speak of what I was living. And so if that's what I was around, that's all I knew. So it wasn't necessarily me trying to hold on to any Jamaican roots or me trying to hold on to anything. I was holding on to the culture that my parents embedded in me. I didn't even realize these things until I got older. I thought this was just normal. It wasn't until I met other people in Flatbush, okay? Because the Americans, the Black Americans, honestly speaking, we had literally nothing in common. And to a Black American, I wasn't even American, okay? I wasn't American enough because, I wasn't, my descendants weren't planted in America. And so that alone put me in a, um, what is it? How can I say this? That alone made me feel left out. And I know a lot of other people who feel that way too. People that are first generation Americans that are from islands like Barbados and all type of stuff. I did not get accepted by other Hispanic people in the States either. So to be honest with you, I went where I felt comfortable, and I felt comfortable around other Caribbean people because that's all I knew. That's what, like I said, I had no idea that Panama had other cultures besides the ones that I grew up with. I'm thinking everybody like I said, I was going to Cologne. Everybody looked like me in Cologne. Everybody talked like how my parents talked. So for me, Cologne was what Panama is. I know grown people up until this day and age who, when they travel to Panama, they only go to Cologne. I have a friend that came to visit me and she's like, damn, I was born in Panama and I don't even know Panama because every time I come to Panama, I always go to Cologne. It's the same thing. You are who your environment. So if that's what your reality is, that's your reality. I know people from Cologne that never stepped foot in the city before. So they probably, in their reality, they're thinking that everybody looks, in Panama looks the way they look. And then when they come to the city, it's like a culture shock. Let me go to the comments. There's so much to say about nation building in Panama is connecting to Hispanicness. That part. True. There's so much Pan Caribbean culture that there is interwoven into cultures of Panama. Yes, I'm reading a book called Panama is My Black. I heard about that book, which talks about the political policies which made things very difficult for those with black skins from the Caribbean. See, told you I'm not lying. Your Caribbean Jamaican identity is who you are ethically. You don't come from Panamanian cultural lineage. Have a native come on. And so if that's the case, then nobody in Panama is a native, only the Indians. If you technically want to be technical, nobody in Panama except for the natives are actually Panamanians. If you go by that concept, then nobody here is Panamanian. I think that Caribbean culture of Panama is just as alive today as it was back then, in my opinion. I think that it's dying out. I think that the people that are trying to hold on to it are older people. The newer generation, not so much. They don't really care anymore. That's just in my opinion. There are some people that are trying to hold on to it, but honestly speaking, I do feel that it's dying out. I also noticed that many Black Panamanians living in the States are not interested in returning to Panama to retire. I don't know because I don't know every Panamanian, every Black Panamanian that is living in the States, but I have met a few Black Panamanians who have retired here in Panama, so I'm not sure. The Hispanics didn't register you as Hispanic because they know you're ethically West Indian. They don't know anything that I am because they never had a conversation with me. They base their judgment based on the way I look. And so if you are basing that based on how I look, then that means that you are one of those people that judge people based on appearance. Like there's Chinese Jamaican, for example, in Jamaica, there are Chinese Jamaicans, there are Indian Jamaicans, they are white Jamaicans, they are black Jamaicans. So yeah, I'm not sure. Nobody in America for that part. No, I'm talking about the black Panamanian. Okay. Very, very true. My older brother grew up in Panama. He didn't speak English till he came to the US. They can tell you're West Indian though through conversation. How can you tell? So when I went to college, okay, I'm talking about in college, you don't know what I am by speaking to me because I don't have a West Indian accent. I speak like an American, or what they would say a gringa here in Panama. So most people, most even there, for example, in America, you will have people that are claiming Puerto Rican. They're saying, well, Puerto Rico is part of the US, right? Let's say Dominicans, right? They will say that they're Dominican, but because they may be light skinned with curly hair, they are born in the US. They're like the third generation Dominican. They are still allowed to claim that they're Dominican based on what? So these, I'm talking about people who have never had a conversation with me. I'm talking about just looking at me. Original Americans from Alaska to Argentina, including the Caribbean, look like Guna Indians. Exactly. So if you really want to get technical, wow, I'm sorry, I've been neglecting the people on IG. Yeah, we're not American enough for the African Americans. I was told I wasn't black when I first got here. We in our own little bubble, but then we not, because we fit in everywhere. Fit in everywhere. A lot of Panamanians born in the States don't even want to speak Spanish nor care for it, but we grew up hearing it and speaking it. Como se, what? Como se es algo para tener vergüenza que sopa con esa vaina. Right. Be proud of who you are, how we are, and what we are. All my cousins barely or can't speak English. A lot of the culture is, or West Indian culture is lost in Colonia Rio Bajo. Exactly. But in Boca, they are okay. You're ethically West Indian Jamaican. I'm not talking about nationality, more so heritage and lineage. If we're gonna go that far, I'm technically African. Ethically, if we're talking about lineage, I'm African. You can't really tell the difference between West Indian and colonial descent, in my opinion. Nowadays, so the division between the two aren't relevant anymore. I don't know. You kind of can though, because one of the girls that work in the store, you can tell that she's a colonial. Novi girl, it's not about going far. It's about culture, tradition, and customs. Okay, I understand what you're trying to say. All right, so now the problem is, right, that I encounter a lot is that, and I think somebody had left people left a comment. Someone left a comment on my channel, on the YouTube channel, and they basically was like, "Oh no, well, you're different because you weren't born in Panama, right?" And so I say this to say this. In my opinion, where you were born does not mean that that is who you are. For example, my son was born in the US. He's been in Panama since he was 4 years old. He went to preschool in America, but he has lived majority of his life in Panama. When my son speaks, he speaks Spanish with a Panamanian accent. He has literally, like, he's the complete opposite from me. Um when he speaks English, sometimes he has a weird English accent. His mannerism, his style of being is definitely not Brooklyn. It's not New York. Um, what would you identify him as? Because there are people that I know that were born in Panama. They were just born here to American parents, born in Panama, never went to school in Panama, know nothing about Panamanian culture, but they were just born here. So does that make that person more Panamanian than another person who actually grew up here? I want to learn Spanish. I feel like I can learn if I live in a Spanish speaking country. You probably can. Where is your son's family from? Father's family from? They're from Jamaica. So the colonial descents are people that came that were brought to Panama um, through slavery. Your son is ethically Jamaican. My son don't know nothing about Jamaica. He has never been to Jamaica. He doesn't even know how to speak patois. So yeah, I don't it's a real when it comes to identity, it's a real complex thing. I feel like, especially here in Panama, people really won't really recognize you as a Panamanian that were born in another country unless you become famous. I went to Panama and felt like I went to Panama and felt like they don't accept me because I'm American. Makes me sad because all my life I thought I would fit in there. Yeah. That being said, if a Latin American moves to the States when they are 6 years old, they can just say they're American just because they believe so. I don't know. That's why we're having this conversation. On the flip side, if a person was born in Panama and they left Panama at 6 months old and lived in America, are they able to claim that they are American, or are they going to complain, or are they going to claim Panamanian even though they have no Panamanian ties whatsoever? You just want me to be Jamaican so bad, huh? I was born in Panama and so were my parents. My grandparents were from Barbados and Jamaica. Exactly. So if a person was born in Panama, their grandparents are from a different, they're second generation Panamanian. Does that mean that they are no longer Bayesian or Jamaican? You know what I'm saying? Like, it's so complex. This whole thing, like, we're all so mixed up with so many things. It just becomes very, very, very complicated. Where do you fit in? I've tried to connect with Jamaicans over shared heritage, and they also saw me as an outsider. Exactly, exactly. So when Business says, "Oh well, no, you're Jamaican," a Jamaican is not going to look at me and be like, "Oh, she's Jamaican," and they're definitely not going to accept me as no Jamaican either. Afro Panamanians, which didn't come from Caribbean migrants, workers, but through slavery from. Oh, okay, basically what I said. It's not about being from Jamaica. If you put kittens in an oven, it don't make them biscuits. You're a Jamaican. How can you be Panamanian without a Panamanian identity? Because people have the okay, so people feel like if you were not born in Panama, then you are not Panamanian. Even though you probably lived your whole life in Panama, you grew up in Panama all your life, you speak the language, you've been here for odd years, they feel like, well, you weren't born here, so you're not really Panamanian. The only way a Panamanian will really, and I'm saying this loosely will accept you as being Panamanian is if you are famous. So if you are famous, then they'll be like, oh, the Panamanian. Panamanian identity is Caribbean too. It doesn't matter what a Jamaican tries to tell you, you are still a Jamaican. Oh my God. Also, Caribbean folks have been there before Panama was even a country. So we are just as Panama as the folks, in my opinion. This is a really good conversation, you guys. I left Panama at 6 years old. I am 50. I go back often. Parents are Panamanian. What does that make me? I would say that you're still Panamanian. In my opinion, we fit in where I'm wanted. But where though? This is what I'm saying. Like where would it's so complex. It's extremely complex. Okay, so I also want to clear something else up because when you say Caribbean Panamanian, you guys do know that there's a part of Panama that is Caribbean, and that's Bocas del Toro. Bocas del Toro is still part of Panama, but it is a Caribbean island, an Afro Caribbean island at that. We also built this country, and we have made fundamental contributions to the culture. So I feel like we should be considered Panamanian culture too. And so the thing is that there are okay. This is what I want to say. How is it possible that an Asian person, a Chinese person, especially, could go anywhere in the world? Okay, anywhere in the world, and they could be fifth generation Chinese, but they're still able to hold on to their Chinese culture or their Asian culture. But why isn't it okay for Black people, Afro Caribbean people, to hold on to their Afro Caribbean culture in whatever country they are now residing in? No one ever says anything when Asian people are they're celebrating their Chinese New Year's, and they do celebrate Chinese New Year's here in Panama. They sure do. I have videos to prove it. Asian people don't have to assimilate, but why is it that Black people have to assimilate? And this is just an open end question. I'm asking. People are what culture identity they were raised in, because that's what makes your day by day customs. Right, like that girl that was the Black girl that was adopted by Mexicans, and she sings like Mexican music, and she's like heavily in the Mexican community. Even though she was born American, she was adopted by Mexican family. She considers herself Afro-Mexican, even though she wasn't born in Mexico, and her biological parents aren't Mexican. Yeah, so true. I am just being specific about which type of Panamanian subculture I'm talking about. Y'all have to study the behavioral science of cultural agency. You know I'm always gonna have the points, y'all. Y'all know I'm always gonna have the points. I'm waiting for somebody to answer that. I felt more at home in Panama than I've ever felt in the States. It's always a double standard with us, unfortunately. Race and culture are different things. Okay, but what I'm trying to say is Chinese culture, being Chinese, Chinese is a culture, right? Chinese people specifically, Chinese people, wherever they go in the world, they cling on to their culture. So, for example, even the Chinese people here in Panama, they may be born in Panama, but guess what? Their parents make sure that they go back to China. They learn how to speak Chinese, well, Mandarin or whatever dialect or whatever language they speak. They read and write. They eat the foods. They still consider themselves Chinese. There are Chinese people that they'll be like third or fourth generation Chinese, but they're still able to claim themselves Chinese. Chinese is culturally, we're talking about Chinese culture, okay? Asian is the race. Nationality is Chinese. Culturally, your nationality is still who you are. Both of my parents are Panamanian. I was born in NYC at the age of 16 months. My parents sent me with my grandparents till I was able to start kindergarten. I consider myself a true Panamanian. You see, so you being Panamanian isn't about necessarily, and I'm just saying this in general. I don't think it really is about where you were born. I think it's more about culturally how you grew up. Something needs to be said about heritage and nationality because at the time, one's nationality can conflict with the ethnic racial heritage. Explain Cinco de Luna. Yeah, I am burning up. I need to open up this door. Hold on. Keep on chatting, people. Being Panamanian is more than saying que sopa or using slang. Is to being Panamanian is more that I guess is than saying que sopa or using slang. Is it to speak proper Spanish? Um, I have to disagree because, like I said, my grandmother was born and raised in Panama, and my grandmother did not speak Spanish. She was very much Panamanian, so I have to disagree with that. I feel like we say race and ethnicity when we really mean heritage. The conflict comes out of an imposter syndrome due to assimilation process in the nation they migrate to. Um, elaborate. You got to elaborate on that. Yeah, I didn't understand either. All right, so let's go into the next question. Hold on. All right, for those of you who have experienced the same thing that I have experienced, I want to know what challenges you have faced in balancing your cultural identity. Best example, undocumented kids in the States. They have been there since they were uso de razón, and they are not considered American. Well, when some people migrate to a foreign culture, the assimilation can be a bumpy ride, which creates an injured sense of identity and empowerment. Okay, I think you just need to be a little bit direct, okay? Straight to the point, because I still don't know what you're talking about. I still don't know. Let me go here. Let's see what we're talking about. Guys, if you are on Instagram and you want to read the conversation that we're having, you're gonna have to come onto YouTube, because whatever you are writing in the comment sections on IG, the people on YouTube aren't able to see it. Yeah, I'm confused about what he's trying to say. I thought I was slow. I thought I was slow at one point. Basically, folks be confused coming from an immigrant family. Precisely. This is why we are here right now. This is why we're having this conversation. Okay? Not always. Heritage is your culture. Sometimes that can be a country, subculture of nations. Southern as a culture, Costeña culture in Colombia, for example, or a pan ethnic culture, Caribbean culture. So, one of the things that I wanted to bring up, which I thought was very interesting, is that, for example, one of Bob Marley's baby mother, she identifies as a Jamaican, but she was born in Canada. She has lived in Jamaica and obviously, but she was actually born in Canada. I know people that are Panamanian and go to America just to have their babies, but their kids live their whole entire life here in Panama. So does that make them American or does that make them Panamanian, even though they were born in Panama? I mean, born in America. Not always. Heritage is your culture. Sometimes that can be a country, a subculture of a nation. Southern AA culture, Costeña culture in Colombia. Oh, I've read that already. Nobody is confused. This experience is complex and should be respected as such. I'm over here. I'm over. If you want, you could just call in. You don't have to write an essay. I'll give you the link. You can call in. If you don't want to be seen, just turn your camera off. And you can just talk. Okay, you don't have to show your face. You could just call in. So you don't have to write an essay. You could basically voice what you have to say. It's crazy, y'all. It's I, you know, really have to say, our parents left wherever your country, whatever country is, to come to America to give you guys a good life, to give your kids a good life. And then a lot of times the struggle that we experience because of our parents' decisions. And of course, your parents mean well, you know, things happen, but I don't think they realize how complex America is. Oh my God. All right. So type your essay then. Whatever. I'm not about to argue with nobody right now. I'm not about to argue with a soul. Okay. Because this is why we're even having this conversation, because it just gets super confusing. Um, the struggles of identity. Then you have, people who are, for example, their parents are Haitian and they come to Panama and they have their kids in Panama. So now they're first generation Panamanian. Parents are Haitian. Kids don't want anything to do with their Haitian culture. They assimilate to Panamanian culture, and they're like, yeah, yeah, I'm Panamanian, I'm Panamanian. Which technically, right, they are Panamanian because they were born here. Um, but then what happens to the culture that they actually grew up in, which would be Haitian culture? Because if you come from immigrant parents, if you come from Haitian parents, although you were born in another country, your parents are going to raise you with Haitian culture. Yeah, you have to dumb it down because you're just doing all these words and all these fancy writing, child. Listen, it is what time is it? It is 8:49. I don't know if it's in the States if you guys did daylight savings yet, but we ain't trying to read, like we're reading the Bible. We want straight to the point. We want to get straight to the point and just tell us what it is. So I'm American. My grandfather's Jamaican, but I'm the only one who connects with Caribbean heritage. I'm Jamaican now. Okay, we finally have a caller. All right. Let's hear what he has to say. And I want to remind everyone to be respectful. Okay. Cinco.
Hello?
Hi.
Hey, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good, good. I'm really into this discussion, actually.
So what do you want to talk about, sis?
Oh my gosh. I was actually thinking about this yesterday and thinking about how, like, in America, identity is so much different than in other places. Like, I don't know. I haven't really sat with this to, like, articulate it the best way, but I don't know. In America, I feel like people hold on to their heritage, their ethnic cultures a lot more. And
Yes.
especially for like people of color, like we see ourselves more as like what we are, where our family's from, etc., more than we see ourselves as American. And I feel like in other countries it's so different. It's like if you are born there, like you are from there, and they see themselves more as who they are now rather than who their parents were. I feel like that plays a huge role in why Americans identify so differently, and why, Panamanian Americans specifically have these identity sort of issues. And yeah, it's just, I don't know, I feel like it's America specifically that has that sort of issue.
I definitely agree with you. I think living in America changes a lot or makes things that you didn't think about before. They make you think about because race, heritage, ethnicity, all of that is always at the forefront of everything. Everything is about race and wherever you're from. So you are absolutely right when it comes to that.
Yes, exactly. And it's so weird because a lot of us haven't even been to those countries or didn't spend enough time to actually know what it's like to live there, and things like that. So it's really interesting how we almost have this symbolic, like this imagination of what this place is, but it's not even like that in real life. Like it may have been like that when our parents were there way back whenever, but I don't know. It's interesting. Like when I meet Panamanians that are my age, that grew up there, were born and raised there, the way that they see Panama is just so different from the way that I imagine it in my head growing up. And mind you, I haven't been to Panama growing up. I only went recently, like last year, for the first time since I was like a toddler. So
Mhm.
like I feel like it was a culture shock, and I was like not expecting it to be such a shock in so many ways.
So when you say that, the way that they view Panama, it was different from what you thought. Like what exactly like did they say? Like like what did they say? Like what made you see that? What made you realize that the way that they were viewing, culture is completely different from the way we view culture in America?
Yeah, I feel like they kind of idealize like um I don't know, I don't want to say like ethnic unity, racial unity, like I don't know, I feel like they oversimplify race related issues in the world in general, and they make it seem like, oh, everything's okay, just like marry someone that's of a different heritage or a different whatever, and that's just going to make, racism go away. And I don't know, I feel like
Yeah,
it
I know what you're
seems,
trying to say.
like I don't know, I just felt like certain social issues they don't seem to be super complex or complicated about it, or not critical about it. That's what it is. Like,
Yeah, I know what you mean. Like race is not that much of an issue here. I mean, racism does exist, child, because it exists everywhere. But I do see what you're saying. Like here, for example, like my son's friend is a white Panamanian, his best friend at that, and they have like a real diverse group of friendship. Versus me, when I was growing up in Brooklyn, all my friends were black.
mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
I totally, totally get what you're trying to say and what you're where you're going with this. I want to know if anybody else have that experience or encounter that. So thank you for calling in, sis. I love your outlook and I appreciate it.
Of course. Thanks for letting me chat.
Of course. Boop. Bye.
Bye.
Okay, so she is totally right. Okay, so let's see what abroadability because Miss Lady got citizenship in like 25 different countries. Personally, I feel in between several cultures, not enough to be one from one country and then told I'm not really from that one I was born in. I have been told that I am not really black. So I, girl, yes. Trust me, that's what I'm saying. Like growing up like from black Americans, they would be like, you're not black. And I'm like, what are you talking about? Yes, I am. You are from NYC. You are from NYC. 8:49 is still the afternoon for y'all. I have not lived in New York for a very long time. Um, 9 o'clock is late for me. Okay, 9 o'clock right now is like okay, I'm ready to go to bed. I was born in New York, but I live in Panama. I went to school in Panama. That makes me Panamanian, and I love my Panama culture. All right. The USA. Dad was from Senegal. Grandparents were from Jamaica and Panama. Your household is your country. My household is, I'm old and I'm tired. I don't know about all of that. My daughter was born in Panama. My son was born in Brooklyn. My son does not act like a New York person. Sometimes I look at him like, dude, like what is going on with you? V girl, I don't think Black Americans cause any confusion for you because you are from Brooklyn, which is basically a Caribbean bubble. Um, when I went away to college, I went to college upstate New York. So I gotta be a little bit more specific. Growing up in Brooklyn, yes, Caribbean culture, I was around a whole bunch of black people. When I went to college is where my life shifted. When I went to college is where I realized like, okay, what the hell is going on? I did not get accepted by Black Americans. I did not get accepted by Hispanics. So where did I go where I felt comfortable was Caribbean people, whether they were Jamaican, Trinidadian, Bayesian, from St. Lucia, Guyana, which is really South America, but Caribbean. Um, that is where I felt accepted. So accepted meaning that I was looked at as one of them. I wasn't looked at as an outsider. I wasn't looked at like, oh well, mm, that girl is this. That's what I mean. Um, I was not from Harlem. I was not from the Bronx. I feel like Harlem and the Bronx had very much a lot of Black Americans, which also were, a large percentage of the population of where I went to school because I went to school upstate New York. And so when I say I didn't feel accepted, that's what I mean. Like I was not accepted amongst those group of people. So I was in the Caribbean Association. I was in every Caribbean party. Why? Because I listened to reggae music growing up. We listened to Mighty Sparrow. Imagine Mighty Sparrow. Okay? My grand aunt, which is my mother's aunt, her husband loved himself some Mighty Sparrow. So Mighty Sparrow was always played in the house. At my aunt's house, there was always, her husband was Guyanese, so it was always Beres Hammond in the house when we were growing up. I was always at my aunt's house. In my parents' house, we listened to everything. We listened to salsa, we listened to Michael Jackson, we listened to oldies, we listened to calypso, because at the time it wasn't soca, it was calypso. We listened to reggae music. Not so much dance hall because my parents was not really into dance hall, but yes, my father was into reggae music. We listened to everything. And so, like I said, I felt more accepted amongst other Caribbean people. I met people, I had friends from Belize, and people from Belize also, a lot of people that I know from Belize have the same issue. One of my friends that I went to high school with, the first time I met somebody was from Belize, was actually in high school, and they were from, go figures, Flatbush. And the first time I heard him speak, I asked him if he was Jamaican, and he was like, "Nah, I'm from Belize." I didn't know that people from Belize spoke patois. It wasn't until I met someone. Belize is in Central America. So when you would think, oh, okay, well, a Central American country, you're automatically going to think, oh, Latin America. He didn't speak Spanish. They spoke English. Go to V Girl TV. Did the non-accepted lead to name calling or prejudice? I don't, not name calling. But stereotypes, yes. Okay? Yes, stereotypes. Lots of stereotypes. Panamanian culture is the most musically diverse people on everything. Yeah, they are. And so, true, my family listens to music from across the diaspora. And compa, yes, compa. I almost forgot about compa. Yes, we listen to compa also. Okay, even though no one understood what they were saying, they made up their own words. For God's sakes, Tapu Compo was one of the most popular um artists. Even though one of the leaders in Tapu Combo was Panamanian, but for the most part they were all Haitian people. And even still to this day, at Rum and Brunch, we out here playing Haitian music also. So I say this to say it's like nobody really, I think living in America really puts a spotlight on things. Literally, like living in America makes you like dissect, and then it makes you feel, well, for me, I can't speak about nobody else, but a lot of times, like I was like, damn, like where do I fit in? Did other West Indians discriminate against Haitians in Brooklyn? And everybody discriminated against Haitians in Brooklyn. Everyone. And I feel like in the 90s, like everybody really wanted to be Jamaican. It was really the in thing to be Jamaican. I mean, I never claimed it, but I'm just saying a lot of people did. First of all, being Haitian, I'm not Haitian, but I remember seeing how people treated Haitian people. I remember how people would tell Haitians, like, they would call them Haitian booty scratchers. I remember this boy I went to elementary school with. His mom was Haitian, and he was hiding the fact that he was Haitian, but he clearly had a French name, which everyone knew he was. But he would say that he was Jamaican, and then it would be so bad that if you called him Haitian, he was literally trying to fight you. He would literally try to fight. That's how bad Haitians were treated in America. I don't think I could send it to you because I am on live, like I'm streaming, so I'm not really on live from my phone, so I can't send links. But that still didn't take away the fact that compa music was very big in Panama and in the Panamanian community. New Yorkers are ruthless. We accept Haitians in journeys. We accept Haitians in Jersey. Fugees. Oh, I think Wyclef. Well, Wyclef and Praz were Haitian, but I don't think Lauren Hill is Haitian. I think she was just American. I heard that the Haitians were accepted in Jersey, though. All right, we've been on this conversation for an hour and 8 minutes in, and we still have not come up with a unanimous decision. Who is allowed to claim Panamanian and who's not allowed to claim Panamanian? So, from what I heard, Pop Smoke wasn't really Panamanian. Tatiana Ali is half Trini, and her father is Trinidadian, and her mom is Panamanian. Yes, DJ Clue, I heard that. Casanova, I'm not sure. I'm not sure about Casanova. I heard that, but I don't know how true that is. People who have Panamanian customs, traditions, and lineage. Okay, but you just told me that I can't claim to be Panamanian, so I'm not understanding. I think Pop Smoke is just Black American. Who would get kicked out if they close the borders to all immigrants? That's who can't claim Panama. Well, that's not me. Panama split from Colombia, so there are Colombians that are technically Panamanian. This is so complex, and I feel like there is really no black and white answer to this. I think that people should claim whatever they feel like they want to claim at this point. Okay. I feel that being Panamanian is a sense of pride. I feel that how you grew up, where you feel connected to, is who you are. That's just me, in my personal opinion. Let's look it up. Hold on. Okay. Let's see. The only reason why I'm saying this is because the Panamanian community in Brooklyn is very small. Everybody knows each other. I'ma see. We gonna see. Let me hear how she sound. I don't know. It's not sounding Panamanian to me, but we will never know. Um, if I moved my son to Nigeria 20 years from now, could he identify? Well, why? He's been here since he was a child. He has never went to school in the United States. The only thing he knows is Panama. And so I think he can identify as Panamanian. So yes, my son is Panamanian. But wouldn't those Colombians be Panamanian because the territory that was a part of Colombia was the entire country of Panama? See, now we're back at square one again with this. Now we're back at square one. We're back at square one with this. I think that at the end of the day, everybody, if you have parents from some place, I think that this, like I said, I don't think that this is a black and white issue. This is not a black and white answer. Um, he's Jamaican, Panamanian. I have no idea because, like I said, the Panamanian community in Brooklyn is extremely small. Everyone literally knows everyone. He is from the same place that I'm from, Canarsie. Uh, Never seen him in any Panamanian events. Never seen his mother in any Panamanian events. Not saying that he is not, but I'm just saying I don't know because there's a lot of people claiming that they're Panamanian, and then it's really not. Like I knew a girl I went to high school with, and she claimed she was Panamanian, but it was her great 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 grandmother that was Panamanian, and then the rest of everybody was born in America. So I don't know. Is she allowed to claim Panamanian? You know what's so funny? And I just want to bring up this other point, right? Italians can claim Italian even if they're like fifth generation Italians. Irish people can claim that they're Irish even if they are third, fourth, fifth generation Irish. They can still say, "Yeah, I'm Irish." No one questions it. Um, it's just I think when it comes to people of color, that's when everything gets, everything has to be questioned. True. I read a book about this. It basically said that even when Panama was a part of Colombia, it was isolated, neglected, and known as the Black Providence. This was before Caribbean migration. Identity, musical chairs is part of the pain of coming from immigrant family. That part. Yep. Polish can claim too. Exactly. Empire Business is trolling at this point. He's trolling. That part. To be Panamanian, you must know the folklore in Panama, be tied to the staple crop, love Panama soccer, sports, and local roots. I will say this: when I go to countries of my heritage and I say I'm American, they say no, you are from here. I claim all parts of my heritage proudly. That's right, girl. Forget it. Everybody's African. I'm claiming everything now. That part. I have to disagree. The Europeans are mad at them for claiming their great grand's culture. Well, at the end of the day, y'all, I'm sorry to disappoint you. Yo soy panameña, yo no quiero escuchar nada de lo que usted está diciendo. Nadie me puede decir algo diferente. Yo estoy en Panamá, yo vivo aquí en Panamá, mi familia son de Panamá, entonces yo soy panameña. No quiero estar escuchando nada, 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 ¿ok? Don't hate. Don't hate. Así que, si los chinos pueden decir que son chinos y nacieron en otro lugar, entonces yo soy panameña. Point blank, period. Okay? I just said that. Okay? I just said that. Thank you. Well, guys, this was an amazing live. Empire Business is trolling. Okay? He is trolling, or she, because I don't even know if it's a he or a she, but the person is trolling. Okay? How you want it? Okay? How you want it? What you want me to say? You want me to talk like this? You want me to tell you like this? Well, boy, let me tell you this. I am a Panamanian. All right? My grandparents was Jamaican. But at the end, me still is a Panamanian. Or do you want me to say it like this? Okay, guys, so I just want to say that I am still Panamanian, even though, I talk like this. Um, my mom and dad, they're from Panama. My grandma's Panamanian. My whole family's Panamanian. My great grandparents were Jamaican. Um, yeah. And do y'all want to hear some hot shiznits? Okay. All right. This was a bomb dropper for me. But my my great grandmother, yes, from my father's side, she was Jamaican and her father was an Irishman from Westmoreland. An Irishman met a Jamaican woman in Jamaica, and then I met this guy who is Irish descendant, and he broke down the whole thing to me as to why a lot of Irish people were in Jamaica and Montserrat because of the potato famine. And I'm like, oh, this makes so much sense. Which is why patois, if you hear a person from Ireland speak English, they kind of sound similar to Jamaican English. Thank you. I've been busting out content, y'all. I've been busting out the content. Okay. I was busting out content for y'all. All right. You know what? Y'all do not. Let me tell you something. Let me tell you something. Let me say something. Okay. You know what? I'm not even trying to pat myself on the back or anything, but I was the first Black person, okay, young, that's not retired, to actually start documenting my life in Panama. And I be feeling very underrated because y'all be out here trying to play me, okay, out in these streets because y'all don't be liking my videos. Y'all will come, y'all watch my videos. You do not like, you do not share. Y'all come on the channel, y'all look at what y'all need to look, and then y'all go about y'all business. Put some respect on my name, please. Put some respect on my name because when y'all didn't have nothing to do during COVID, y'all was on my channel. And y'all be really treating me like a stepchild. I don't like that. Okay. I don't like it. Now I gotta get Brooklyn. I don't like that. I was the first person giving y'all real content. I was the first person giving you real content, honest content, not Google fact content. Okay, real content about Panamanian culture, about my documenting my life living here in Panama. I was the one that was giving it to y'all first, and y'all be really playing with me. Y'all be really playing with me. I don't like that. It is free 99 to like. It is free 99 to hit the subscribe button. Free. Free. It costs nothing. But y'all be y'all going on like like you have to pay to subscribe. I don't like that. So Rick B, yes, day one. All right. Rick B, always support your girl. Rick B was sending what's those things that they send on Facebook? I mean on YouTube. Super thanks. Okay. Rick B used to stay sending me super thanks. Sure was on your channel during COVID. You got us through COVID. No lies. So thanks, boo. All right. And I don't like it. I don't like it. I see how people be moving on these YouTube streets. I see how they move on these YouTube streets. I don't like it. It is free to hit the like button. It is free to subscribe. When you like, you subscribe, and you comment, you help my channel grow. You help me to get into the algorithm. So I just came to reclamar. So yes, I'm not gonna lie and tell you I'm not feeling no type of way. I was feeling some type of way. I was feeling some type of way. But shout out to my Panamanian people in Brooklyn. Let me tell you something. The Panamanian people in Brooklyn, the Panamanian community in Brooklyn, the Panamanian community in Brooklyn. I love the Panamanian people in the Panamanian community in Brooklyn. The Panamanian community in Brooklyn have held me down for so many years, shared my content, shared whatever I do. The Panamanian community in Brooklyn. Let me tell you something. I did a video during Rum and Brunch weekend about why I do Rum and Brunch. And that video was shared on WhatsApp so many times. Okay? Because of the people, the Panamanian community in Brooklyn. Let me tell you, la gente de Nueva York, te estoy diciendo la gente de Nueva York que siempre me apoyan, gracias. O sea, de parte de mi mamá, porque yo sé que mi mamá conoce a todo el mundo en Panamá, en Brooklyn. Mi mamá conoce a todo el mundo. She could be the president. But I appreciate the Panamanian community in Brooklyn. Seriously. A lot of these people in Brooklyn, they see me grow up. They was around when I was dancing típico, when I was dancing Congo. You know, I remember a lot of them remember me from, always being involved in Panamanian activities and events by way of my mother. So I appreciate them. Oh, you have been very real and transparent. Thank you. I can only be real. Like I cannot be fake. Like I tried to be fake and it was just not working for me. Like I felt like I was stifling. Okay. I was like choking being fake. And I was just like, you know what? It is what it is. Y'all gonna either accept me or you don't. I got called ghetto. People was like, oh, you're so ghetto. Okay, whatever. It is what it is. It is what it is. I don't care. Because a lot of those people that was calling me ghetto was using my information to navigate Panama. So I'm sorry I cannot be prim and proper. Okay? I'm sorry I cannot be prim and proper. Pero mi mamá es de Colón. Entonces yo tengo sangre de Colón. Colonense. Barrio Norte. You already know what time it is. Hello. Yes. God, y'all. All right. We've been on here for 1 hour and 26 minutes. I have to go. Thank you guys for tuning into this video. I think this was a really, really good conversation. Even we still didn't come, we still didn't come up with a conclusion. We didn't conclude it and come up with any straightforward answer. But this was still a really good conversation, and a conversation that had to have happened. Okay. We had to have that conversation. It's a lot deeper. Being Panamanian for me is having Panamanian pride, loving the culture, loving the food, loving the music, loving all parts of Panamanian culture, not just our Afro-Caribbean culture, but all parts of Panamanian culture. I don't regret for 1 second living here. I think that living in Panama has made me feel even closer to my heritage. Yeah, I would encourage all Panamanians in the diaspora to come back, invest, and let's make Panama great again. Why I sound like Trump? Oh my God. What the heck? Calle 13, 13th Street. Yes. I don't know what we're gonna talk about next week. I have to think of what topic we're going to talk about on next week live. So lives are going to be consistently on Thursday with different topics, because I love doing lives, because this is a way for me to connect with everyone, and to have real candid conversations. And so we're going to continue doing lives every Thursday. God spare life, like my grandma used to say, God spare life. So I'll see you guys next Thursday. Make sure you guys hit the like button. Central. All right, guys. Until next time. Oh, wait. I did not. We got to do that over again. Hold on. We got to do that. Until next time.